Okay, tag me in, guys. It's Spaz, your YWC reality check. Oh yes, and you see what the title is. Yes, you do. Read it to yourself for a second. I will give you a moment. Did you really think that my gripes with John Cena were going to end with 50 points? Really? And that's a Miz. Really? Now, for anybody that didn't see it, I'm honestly going to say, go back a couple videos on this channel, look up the video, the original Cenapocalypse video on this channel. Let me know what you think. It has gotten more attention on this channel than anything else that I have ever done. And I will say, and I want to step outside the box and say, most people that came and gave that video the attention that I was looking for were great. I'm not asking everybody to agree with me. I'm not asking anybody to jump to my aid, jump to my side, jump to my defense, etc. I want to start conversation on this channel. People came along on that video. A lot of people did agree with me. A lot of people said, you know, hey, I've been saying the same things for a long time. It's nice to think, you know, that more people think the same way as I do. That's great. There were other people that didn't agree with me, gave me some points the other way, got a conversation going. That's also great. I, unlike some people here in the YWC, don't mind if you disagree with me. If you want to have a calm, casual discussion about it without, you know, getting all irate and butthurt and disrespectful, etc., I do not care if you are diametrically opposed to every opinion I have. It makes for great conversation. Even better than that were the people that were totally neutral, that said, I don't give a shit about John Cena either way. But I see a couple of the points that you've made here, I disagree with some of them, and then, you know, we divide the line from there and get into even more great conversation. The people that I cannot stand are the people out there that basically walk around with the attitude of, oh yeah, everybody can have any opinion they want as long as they agree with me. See, the mistake I made when I made the Cenapocalypse video, I broke two cardinal rules. I'm not allowed to be a fan of anybody from the Attitude Era here in the YWC. I totally forgot about that. And I totally forgot that thou shalt not speak ill of the Golden Boy. I'm a bad person. I'm, you know, bad Spaz. But at the same time, here I am to give you more. Oh yes, some people, even though I specified that this was not a debate, in this case, about how good John Cena is for kids. It's not a debate on how much money John Cena brings to the company. I know. I mean, it builds bile in my system to admit it, but I know John Cena draws the company money, and I get that. It's literally what I see on my television screen and how I personally intake it. This is all my opinion that I am entitled to, whether you like it or not. People out there saying this and that, oh, you know, Cena's a great, you know, he's a great guy, he does all the charity and all that, and all the arguments that have thrown at me before. I've given John Cena the credit for doing his charity work. He's phenomenal with the charity work. You know, 300 wishes granted for Make-A-Wish and all the other types of things. All the media coverage that he does, he goes out there, he's the good company boy, he does all the right things, he comes to work every day with his work boots on. I appreciate that. My videos are about what I see on my television screen and whether or not it entertains me. And I really hope that eventually that idea sinks into the heads of the people that are trying to take the direction that I'm going, the point that I'm making, and try to make it about something else. Because yes, while those other things that they say are true, they are not relevant to the point that I am trying to make. And here's another thing. To all the people that, you know, insulted me and whatnot, and, you know, some of them were creative, some of them were just throwing me lazy insults. The winner of the week, and I deleted it, and I don't delete a lot of comments, but I deleted this because it was friggin' retarded, was whoever it was that sent me the message, congratulations, you've now lost the right to call yourself a wrestling fan, I hope you choke on your earring. Because that just shows the lack of anything, really, doesn't it? I know some of you like me in rant form. I've gotten actually a lot of positive reviews on things that I've done in rant form. In this case, I've tried not to. I've tried to break it up a little bit. I've tried to attack each individual point. as I go. I've tried to set aside time properly for each point that I'm trying to make. And I'll give you a layout before I even go any further in this video of what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to address the assertion that that The Rock has only come back to the WWE for money. I'm going to address the assertion that John Cena has not been handed everything in the WWE. I'm going to address the war of words and who I think is winning the war of words between John Cena and The Rock. And I'm going to address the arguments made by each of those men. And yes, those are two separate topics. Who's winning the actual individual confrontations and who's actually speaking more truth in those confrontations are two separate points, and I want to make that clear. Also, I'm going to respond to one particular thorn in my side that throws the most ridiculous arguments at me ever. That is going to be a separate section in this video. And in the last video, I'm going to go to a little expert opinion to back up my own. That's basically going to be the layout of this video. I hope you enjoy it. I know there's a lot of people out there, and I know exactly who you are, that are going to flag this video, and that's fine, that's wonderful. I've already backed it up, and if I get my channel taken down, I promise you all, I will pop up somewhere else. Sit back, relax, grab a drink, and listen to me rant. Alright, enjoy. Alright guys, in this part of the video I'm going to be addressing the people that seem to be on my ass super hard every time I say Cena's been handed everything in the company. Now, how am I going to... I'm only going to really bring up one point here. I could bring up the fact that, like, when I said he hasn't lost cleanly in forever, I think the most recently people popped up on the Cenapocalypse video was like 07. That's pretty bad. I mean, I don't want the guy to start being a total fucking jobber, but, like, if you haven't had a clean loss in 5 years, why do I care? But I've done that point to death already. I could talk about the belts, the US Championship. As soon as it was his, it was really his. And as soon as the WWE title was his, it was really his. And everybody else has had to carry it just to remind us. I could say that. I could go back to the harbinger of the whole damn thing. His very first match, he was made to look very, very strong and almost looked like he was going to win against Kurt Angle. In your debut match, I don't care what your opinion is of Kurt Angle, you can't deny he's a fucking phenomenal wrestler, and he was top tier when he was in the WWE. You got a guy on his first night that's going to take out Angle, that's a handout. Now, in the season that we are in, it is only appropriate to apply this to WrestleMania. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to lay out John Cena's WrestleMania track record, because it sparkles pretty damn well, doesn't it? He's almost got as good a streak as The Undertaker, as disgusting as that is to say. First WrestleMania, you know, new kid on the block as far as WrestleMania goes. Not only is he in the opening match, not only is he the match that's supposed to get everything going, this is, you know, the Big 20, he's the first face we see, not only that, defeats the 7-foot-tall, 500-pound monster, the Big Show, for the US Championship. Wins his first, you know, title in his very first appearance at WrestleMania. Okay, I can deal with that. Going into the following year, goes up against JBL, who, as much as we really, really hated him at the time, was the longest-running WWE champion at the time, and of course, he won. It became the spinner belt, and we've been crying ever since. Third year, WWE Championship match, goes over Triple H. Fourth year, oh, what did he do fourth year? Who did he defend against in the fourth year? Oh yeah, some jobber named Shawn fucking Michaels. Right, fifth year is where everybody's going to jump on me because he did lose. Now, granted, it took Orton and Triple H to beat him in a triple threat match. Triple H, who should be in the Hall of Fame already, Orton, who is bound for the Hall of Fame for sure. First fucking ballot. Now, he lost. For sure, he lost. He was still in the title picture again, and it took two top tier actual wrestlers to beat him. That's special, isn't it? And if that wasn't enough, we have to make up for John Cena actually having a loss at WrestleMania the following year, where he defeated, oh no, Big Show again, and the rated R superstar Edge, who, you know, was as hot a commodity in the WWE as you could possibly imagine. I will say Edge versus Cena was the last rivalry that Cena was in that I gave a shit about, but that's mostly because of Edge, much like Cena and Punk this past summer. 7th WrestleMania defeated Batista, who was booked as the quintessential powerhouse in the WWE. Not only beat him, but of course beats him by submission. Oh, when he defeated Edge and the Big Show, it was to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. The only belt that he didn't ruin by making it his own, need I mention. WWE Championship, year 7, defeats Batista, the, as I said, quintessential powerhouse, by submission, no less. And here we go last year. Last year, Spaz, you should be super, super happy. Your boy The Miz actually, technically, beat John Cena in the main event of WrestleMania 27. But no, see, The Miz was an afterthought. The WWE title was an afterthought. You know, because the Rock and Cena storyline was more important. Yes, Miz technically walked out with the W in his record column. He also walked out on his back, trampled by the Rock Cena storyline. The entire roster of WrestleMania 27 got fucked, because they were a giant 4-hour commercial for WrestleMania 28. And what does WrestleMania 28 build to, folks? Oh yes, WWE forcing Rock to take the job for Cena. So please, any of you try to deny to me, especially at WrestleMania, where it is the encapsulation of the years past and the year to come. When you look at numbers like this, he lost once legitimately, and it took 2 guys to do it. He lost a second time with bullshit in a loss that didn't really matter. Tell me, looking at this, looking at all the other things that I've mentioned, that John Cena has not been handed the world on a silver, gold, and platinum platter. Oh yes. Oh yes. One of the more popular arguments I've been getting since we found out that The Rock was going to be facing John Cena at WrestleMania is The Rock is so selfish. The Rock is so self-centered. The Rock is just doing it for the paycheck. The Rock is just doing it for the money. Now, the ultimate answer to that really is Rock's visiting the WWE because he's a star outside the WWE. John Cena, in fact, is an employee of the WWE. All you people that are pushing John Cena, you know, he's going to go off and put off a great WrestleMania, which, you know, may or may not be true. But that's his job. He goes there to do a job, to get a paycheck. Pretty sure anybody else, you know, from the Dolph Zigglers to the Cody Rhodeses to the, you know, God forbid, Rey Mysterio, John Morrison if he was still around, but he's not. Right down to, you know, Long Laurinaitis, Michael Cole, Jerry Lawler, you know, Lillian Garcia, Todd Pettengill, Josh Matthews. They are all there because it is their job. They are all there for the money. So it's the most ridiculous argument ever. And to say that The Rock is doing it all for the money and that he doesn't care about the WWE is ridiculous. Now, I'm going to do this very, very simply. The Mummy Returns. Movie. Scorpion King. Movie. Rundown. Awesome movie. Walking Tall. Awesome movie. Be Cool. Tremendously funny movie. Doom. Not everybody's cup of tea, but I like zombies and I like some video game movies, so great for me. Gridiron Gang was phenomenal. The Game Plan, I skipped, because honestly it's not my kind of movie. Same thing with Race to Witch Mountain and Tooth Fairy, but apparently they both did okay in, you know, numbers and theater, count up and all that sort of thing. Faster's great. The Other Guys is funny, even though The Rock only has a bit part in it. Fast 5 is, you know, the fifth installment in a dynasty. So, what can you say about that? Even Journey to the Mysterious Island, I went and I saw it because a friend and I that go to the movies together said, well, it's my turn and I want to see this and it looks funny. I said, alright, it's probably going to suck, but whatever. I went in, it was funny. I did not feel like I'd been dragged to the movies by the time it was all said and done. G.I. Joe Retaliation I'm looking very, very much forward to, because I not exactly like the last G.I. Joe movie, but I think The Rock's going to do quite well in it. Already, for 2012 alone, he's got something called Pain and Gain. I really don't know what it's about, I'll be perfectly honest. He's going to be Hercules, which is awesome, and he's already slotted in for Fast 6. So here's The Rock, who's a dynasty. Here's the Fast and the Furious series, which is a dynasty. They are merging. There's your indicator right there. Now, if, as all the haters out there would have you believe, that John Cena was strictly in this for the money, would he not stick with the movies, where he gets a couple of takes, and where he doesn't have to be perfect on the first time like you do in a live wrestling event? Would he not take the movies where he can, you know, do the movie and then take a long-ass break? You know, this and that. Would he not do the movies where everything that even revolves around a remote chance of danger gets done by a stuntman, and he gets to sit in a seat sipping a Cuba Libre or whatever the hell he drinks and let the stuntman do all the heavy lifting? No, he's coming to WrestleMania, where you have one shot and you better do it right, where you are doing all the heavy lifting, where there is no stuntman, no take two, etc., etc., etc. And why? Why? There's no chance he's going to win. He's going to go out on his back at what is shaping up to be one of the biggest WrestleManias ever. Please tell me where the selfishness lies there. If he was in it for the money, he'd keep making movies, he'd keep himself all nice and safe, let all the, you know, the stunt guys do all the heavy lifting, let all the agents and all that arrange all of his travel, etc., etc., etc. He's got a stacked schedule with just the movie shit. He didn't have to come back. He really, really didn't. People say that he is using his family's legacy to try and re-legitimize himself. The Rock, at any point he chooses, can bring up his father and his grandfather. They are both Hall of Famers. They both made their legitimate, you know, contributions to the WWE and the world of wrestling in general. And The Rock followed right in tow. So if The Rock wants to sit back and reflect on his family's heritage and legacy in the wrestling industry, fuck anybody that tries to cheapen that. For sure. Are you gonna shit on Natalya Neidhart for that? Because every time there's an Natalya match, they mention that she's the daughter of the Anvil. Are you going to shit on Ted DiBiase? Cody Rhodes? Are you going to shit on Mike McGillicuddy, who's actually Joe Hennig? Are you going to shit on Randy Orton, who's another third-generation star? You know, Cowboy Bob Orton Sr., etc. You know, you could go as far as to say Shane, when he was wrestling for a little bit, was the son of Vince. You can go all kinds of different places. Jeff Jarrett, when he was a wrestler in WWE, they harped on the fact that his dad was a wrestler, etc. Are you going to shit on all of them? No, you're not. Are you going to shit on The Rock for it? Yeah, because you're all haters and you're looking for an excuse to do it. The Rock is not The Rock's getting a paycheck, and The Rock should get a paycheck, because at the end of the line, as much as it pains me to say this, guys, The Rock is coming to WrestleMania to be a prostitute. He is prostituting his awesome legacy, the awesome legacy of his family, and the awesome legacy of the era that he is at WrestleMania to represent, a better era in wrestling, all for the sake of your favorite Fruity Pebble, the captain of the Fruit Loop troop, John Cena. So please, before you say that The Rock doesn't care about the industry, look at what he's doing for one of its weakest links. Before you say The Rock is in it for the money, look at what he would be doing if he was really just in it for the money. And thank your lucky stars that he is willing to lie down and be another name on the long, long list of corpses run over by the fucking John Cena steamroller. Illegitimate argument. I'm done. Alright Alright guys, this is probably going to be the biggest part of the video, the biggest chunk of this Rock Cena saga and where I stand. This is the war of the words. This is not necessarily what was said, this is analyzing each situation where Rock and Cena encountered each other. And I'm going to bring it down, you know, blow by blow. Everybody's got, oh, yo, you know, it's Cena 5, Rock -12, and all this shit. This is why my scorecard reads a little bit differently. So let's go back in time. Let's go back in time to before last year's WrestleMania. The Rock is announced as the guest host of WrestleMania. And even though we didn't know what that meant at the time, me, yours truly, being an admitted Rock mark, lost my fucking mind. If you go to Road Signs, the series from last year, there is a 3 or 4 minute video of me just marking out over The Rock. I'll admit that, you know what? And I'm not ashamed to admit that. Really, I'm really not. He came out, he announced that he was coming to WrestleMania, he cut down The Miz, he cut down Michael Cole, which is always great, and then he talks about how his era and all the legacy and of people like him and Shawn Michaels and Steve Austin, etc., etc., etc. You know, he said it great. He said, you know, Austin 3:16 went to If You Smell What the Rock Is Cooking to You Can't See Me. And that was pretty much... That pretty much sums up everything that anybody that lived through the Attitude Era, as great as it was, thinks of people like John Cena. There's the reason we call him the Princess of PG, and, you know, the Nurse of Thugonomics. Cena, after a tremendous rundown by The Rock, what does he do? He goes back about 10 years to when he was moderately relevant, brings out the rap gimmick. Rock's comeback? The Rock just came out here and told you everything that's wrong with you, and you rapped to The Rock. And I still remember it because he said it was so much disgust that it was absolutely beautiful. What I love about The Rock, and I'll get into this in another section of the video, but what I love about The Rock is the personification. He is the voice, you know, not to take anything away from CM Punk. Rock is the voice of the voiceless in terms of why we can't stand CM Punk. And he brings it all to fruition, doesn't it? He does that, and Cena reverts to rap again. And they, you know, tit for tat after that all the way to WrestleMania. The Rock, I will admit, didn't do anything special from about then on, other than talking about his family history and basically negating every comment that Cena said about him not giving a crap about the WWE, doing it quite well, and then there's a little tit for tat, you know, onward through WrestleMania. WrestleMania comes along. The Rock makes me a happy kid. The Rock leaves Cena on his ass. Miz leaves with the WWE Championship, and that's about it. I get my one mark-out moment at WrestleMania. I have my, you know, upon further review, as they say, that was a shitty end to the match. It didn't really give the Miz the push that he needed, which is, you know, something that's to be left aside for another video, but it put Cena in his place, at least for one night. The next night, what does John Cena do as The Rock is cutting his, you know, celebratory promo? He comes out and more or less begs The Rock for a match. And I proceed to mark out because pretty much, you know, without the logic setting in of, you know, John Cena never loses, the chance to see The Rock kick the shit out of John Cena makes me a happy kid in that tweak and mark part of my brain. And, you know, quickly realization sets in, etc. Because The Rock goes away, Cena goes on doing the typical Sheena shtick. He goes on, he keeps burying people, he keeps the title to himself for a long-ass while. Rock cuts probably one of the better promos that he's cut in this entire scenario on YouTube about how all of John Cena's fans, are kids, and, you know, they're, you know, pathetic little people that are trying to live vicariously through John Cena because they suck and so does he, etc., etc., etc. And the thing was that it wasn't even The Rock that brought this promo to the WWE. It was, I believe, The Miz, if I'm not mistaken. But he brought, you know, I'm not going to tell you what I think of you. I'm going to let somebody greater say what they think of you. And they brought in this great, I don't know where it was filmed. It was filmed in some back field somewhere. I think it was on site where Rock was doing a video. Whatever. It was great. The Rock sending in a YouTube video is better promo-wise than John Cena at this point. CM Punk comes in. This is where we have the beginning of the summer of Punk. He cuts the great promo, cuts a better promo on The Rock than Cena does, cuts down Cena, tremendously cuts down Vince McMahon, etc., 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 leads to the Summer of Punk, and CM Punk finally gets the belt off John Cena. It makes me a little bit happier. Cena goes through the rest of the year cutting cookie cutter promos on whoever he happens to be in a bullshit feud with at the time, and every now and then he'll slip in something about The Rock. You know, opponent number 2, you suck and I'm gonna beat you, just like I'm gonna beat The Rock at WrestleMania. And then he'll go back to whatever he's doing. It was very childish, very, poke the lion that's already dead with a stick, because The Rock wasn't actually there, which is fine. Survivor Series comes around, and this is where we're coming to the height of the Awesome Truth experiment, for lack of a better term. Cena begs The Rock once again for his help to beat a tag team that most people call jobbers. I don't, because I have a tremendous amount of respect for The Miz and a growing respect for R-Truth. But realistically, it's a mid-card tag team. So he begs The Rock for help, indicating not only is there nobody in the WWE that can help him, so that buries the whole roster, thanks a lot, Cena, but begs The Rock for help. I'm going to kick your ass at WrestleMania, but before we do that, can you come help me with these 2 kids over here? Go to New York. The Rock cuts a great promo on The Miz, on R-Truth, on Cena, talks about his history in New York, his history in the WWE, talks about his grandfather, his father, very, very respectfully, cuts down his opponents and his partner because he's good like that. They proceed on to the tag team match in New York. As much as I am up here, up in the Great White North, closest big city to me is Toronto, which is a pretty sizable wrestling city in Canada. New York is one of the biggest wrestling cities, period. One of the most raucous crowds, and what rung out all night, all through that match, was one singularity, one thought: don't tag Cena. Enough said. And in the last 5 weeks or so, because The Rock has been away and John Cena had that bullshit rivalry that buried Kane, thanks a lot for ruining that comeback. In the last 5 weeks or so, week 1, Cena comes out, cuts a boring-ass cookie-cutter promo while The Rock is not there. And, tops it off, I'm gonna call you Dwayne, this and that, see you next week, movie star, blah, 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 blah. Rock comes out the following week, I can speak, I swear, cuts a great promo for 15 minutes straight, holds the crowd in the palm of his hand. Cena comes out, tries to interrupt, tries to be bold, tries to, absorb some of The Rock's heat, fails miserably, gets booed out of the building. Rock gives Cena that wrist, promo notes on the wrist gimmick, hands him that so that he has something to say. Then Cena leaves, still booed out of the building. Rock, the exquisite salesman that he is, tries to sell the effect that John Cena has just had on him when there really wasn't anything to be had, and still, at the end of the night, has the crowd in the palm of his hand. Oh, yes, he does. Next. Following week, Cena comes out to cut a promo. Comes out, tries to be tough, tries to act serious and whatever. Rock comes out. All the seriousness drains from his face. He's got a cocky little, nervous little grin on his face. He's laughing it off. Rock tries multiple times to look him in the eye. Cena can't. Every time The Rock gets this close to Cena, Cena's got a backstep. Cena looks nervous. Cena waits until The Rock is literally at the rampway again to start trying to act tough again, looking like a little bitch. Oh yes. Rock concert versus the rap gimmick, whatever, and I will revert to not right after wrestling. It's called Aftermath now. It's a podcast that I listen to quite often. It's got a guy named Art Ocal and former referee Jimmy Corderas of the WWE, and they review kind of like what we do, except for them it's a job, which is awesome for them. And basically one of the call-in guys that they said summed it up perfectly. John Cena isn't really doing rap. He's just doing long, drawn-out, awkward-sounding nursery rhymes and throwing in the occasional bad sort of insult reminiscent of when he used to insult Lita and trying to apply it to The Rock. Comes out, gets booed the whole 2 minutes he's out there rapping. Crowd doesn't give a damn about anything he has to say. Comes out in the old gimmicks. Once again, the old throwback jerseys and the chain and the backwards hat. Look at me, I'm so cool. I'm representing PG, yo. All this other bullshit from, like I say, 8, 9, 10 years ago when people maybe gave a shit. The Rock, on the other hand, comes out before he goes into his concert, cuts a decent ass promo on John Cena, then goes into the concert in a segment that lasted a full 15 minutes or so, gets the crowd roaring, gets the crowd participating, which John Cena cannot do because he is that polarizing, gets the crowd participating, gets the crowd to deliver the message louder than he can, and leaves everybody on a really, really high energy note at the end of the show. On this night, if I'm nice, if you really, really want to go retro, sort of for old time's sake type thing, I'll give Cena a point for the rap that he did. It was okay, it served its purpose, I guess, so I'll give him a point. Rock gets 2 points because everybody in that audience was on their feet for the concert, and it was prefaced with a great promo that Cena didn't do at all. He came in, grabbed the mic, and just went into his nursery rhyme Mother Goose bullshit. Now, this past week on Raw, what did we have? We had probably the best promo to date from The Rock. You know, in front of the Rocky statue, which is a little symbolic, which is great. You had him put over John Cena for all of those who say that The Rock is not focused at all on the importance of the match. He admitted John Cena is the face right now, for better or for worse. If I want to call myself one of the best of all time, I have to beat him. He puts that over better than John Cena does. He comes out, then he compares it to WrestleMania, the history of WrestleMania, his family at WrestleMania, etc., etc., etc. Amazing promo, from the heart type promo. From there, goes on to deliver the first physical message that we've seen between the two of these guys since Survivor Series, which is very, very important. You know, Cena got the living crap kicked out of him by Mark Henry for a while. Rock comes down, eyes him down. The silent message there being, you are weak right now. I could take you out right now, but it's more fun to hold you in the palm of my hand. By the way, let me use Mark Henry, let me rock bottom Mark Henry to show you what your future holds at WrestleMania. That is the punctuation point. They have one more Raw, and if Cena wants to even be even with The Rock, as far as the war of words goes, he has a long way to go. He needs to basically nuke The Rock this week on Monday Night Raw, and I don't see it happening because it's John Cena. That is why John Cena is losing the war of the words, the battle of banter, whatever you want to call it, to The Rock, because it is The Rock's arena. Cena can't do it, and he's not. The end. And here we go again. Now that I've sort of talked about who's won the war of the words in a confrontation by confrontation manner, let's flip the coin a little bit and let's talk about what's actually being said and who's speaking more truth and why, in my opinion. We'll go with Cena's arguments first because they're the easiest to shoot down. I am going to win at WrestleMania because I don't have any other options. I need the WWE. The Rock has other options. First of all, The Rock having other options isn't really a bad thing, is it? And he's great at more than one thing. He has created more options for himself than John Cena has. John Cena, this was not the greatest way to put yourself over because all it did was point out that The Rock is multidimensional and you're not. And you really, really, really just sound like a jealous little bitch in this, when you go on this line of attack, if you want to call it an attack. You just sound jealous, you just sound like you wish you could be The Rock. In your promo skills, in your quote-unquote comedy ability, you already sort of try and be The Rock. It doesn't work. You need to stop. Maybe go out there and actually be John Cena as an individual. You know, stop trying to be Eminem. Stop trying to cut shoots like CM Punk. Stop trying to be funny like The Rock. Create an individual, you know, character. Create an individual style for yourself, as scary a thought as that might be for you. The Rock left. This is not an argument. Because The Rock left because he had nothing else to do. He'd beaten everybody there was to beat at the time. He'd won multiple championships, main evented WrestleMania numerous times, been put over by so many people, put over so many people, had a great, just a great career. Like, there was nothing left for him to do. And all the fans that seem to say, oh, well, you know, The Rock left, The Rock turned his back on us, da-da-da-da-da, are very, very butthurt. But these are the same fans that if The Rock had stayed around and was still there now, they'd be saying the same shit that they say about Triple H. Oh, he's just using his name now, and he's lingering way too long, man. He's gonna be the next Hulk Hogan, man. He's gonna be the next Sting, man. So, to the fans, and to John Cena for that matter, you would shit on him either way, so stop trying to stand on your high horse. He can leave. And it's like I said before, he can leave because he has other options. He can, you know, go do TV spots, he can go, you know, do kids movies, he can do adult movies, he can do a lot of other things in the entertainment realm that you can't do because you are one-dimensional, sir. Absolutely, and that one dimension on its own is weak, for sure. Little side note I want to put out there for anybody that throws out the Rock left argument. Jericho leaves. Jericho has left multiple times to go tour with Fozzy, etc., 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 to do Dancing with the Stars, to, I believe he's been in some minor roles in movies. I could be wrong, I'm not quite sure. I believe he's done extra work on TV, which is, you know, also awesome. He's always received back with a great bit of fanfare. Triple H, for the most part, is an office guy now. He's, you know, participating in so much of the gears and cranks of the WWE that he's not an active wrestler all the time. When he does come back, he gets a massive reaction, a massive pop, and he stirs up, you know, communities like ours here in the YWC. Undertaker, as much respect, and it's uncountable how much respect I have for the Undertaker. But basically, he comes back one night a year now. He's earned that. He's deserved that. He can come in when he wants. He can leave when he wants. I'm not disputing that in the slightest. But he comes back for WrestleMania. That's fine. Now, if all of these great legends, or, you know, future legends or future Hall of Famers, however you want to indoctrinate them, can all leave and come back with such style, with such grace, and be received with such great fanfare, why is it so different for The Rock? Because The Rock turned his back on us. That's bullshit. You all sound butthurt. John Cena sounds butthurt. John Cena sounds like he's representing the butthurt members of the YWC. Oh, yes, he does. Here's the thing. Everybody's mad that The Rock made the distinction, I want to be called Dwayne Johnson because I'm an actor now. That's not a shot at the WWE. That is a clarification of where his life was when that statement was made. When that statement was made, The Rock's focus was Hollywood. When The Rock was a wrestler, his focus was wrestling. Now that he's back in the WWE, embracing, you know, the fanfare, the fans, the spectacle of wrestling, once again, wrestling is now a part of who he is again. For 7 years, it wasn't, because he moved on to something else. That wasn't an insult, that was a clarification that people cling to because they know they really don't have anything else bad to say about The Rock. So they got this little tiny thing that they grab onto, and it's just so pathetic. It really is. Oh, well, The Rock said he was coming back and he was never leaving again. Really, once again I say, if The Rock was back on a full-time schedule, he would be in the main event. And all the same butthurt people that are saying, oh, he said he would come back, and now he's never back, and now he's only been here a few weeks, and da-da-da. If he was there every week, you'd be bitching about him stealing the spotlight from whoever your flavor of the week is. So pick a side, choose your side, stay on that side, and stop being a hypocrite. Other than those two weak arguments, Rock has options, and The Rock left to be an actor. Everything else has been, you know, making fun of his movies, which, you know, John Cena really hasn't done anything in that realm. He, again, is a Rock wannabe in that respect. Correcting the fact that he doesn't have nuts but he has balls, or he doesn't have balls but he has nuts. Multiple times asking the question, what does The Rock call his penis now? Then turning around and implying multiple times that The Rock is somehow homosexual, and the rest of it is just a jumble of recycling the jokes that The Rock has just used on him. That makes you sound very, very weak, sir. Yes, it does. Now, look at the other side of the coin, The Rock's arguments. And no, not all of them. There is some comedy in The Rock as well, but The Rock didn't have to change anything, didn't have to up his game to come back and be funny and be entertaining. Cena has been operating at, 101% just to try to keep up with The Rock. Oh, yes, he has, and nobody can deny that. The Cena's fans are kids, which is true. John Cena is aimed at the children. He's the one, he's doing this and that, whatever, interacting with the kids. It's easier to win over a young crowd than it is to win over a smart, older crowd, making Rock's pop more impressive. Rock is accepted by everybody. Cena is accepted by his young fans, the women that happen to think he's attractive, and the parents that have brought the kids to the match just because they're cheering along with the kids. The Rock has everybody. And Rock has cheers from, the old male demographic where the WWE used to aim all their product. They are still with The Rock. Young fans, if John Cena only aims at the young fans, fans will outgrow him. Fans aren't going to outgrow The Rock because The Rock's fandom doesn't have an age limit, and that is what makes The Rock's pop more impressive. Not to mention the fact that it is generally greater than John Cena's. The male demographic hates John Cena, and I'm going to be a little stereotypical here, but I don't really care. This is true. We miss the ass-kicking days of old. We miss the actual wrestlers like Punk and Jericho. We miss the, the ones that would go out there and kill each other, like Brock Lesnar, like Austin, like I don't even know who else I want to name in this thing. But we miss those guys that would go out there, that could be pissed off, that could tell you, hey, I'm going to rip off your head and spit down your neck, and then go out and do it. That's not John Cena. That's not, we tune in to watch wrestling, watch people kick the shit out of each other, not to get a big moral lesson and rising above the hate. Bullshit. The fans in general are sick of Cena because he's predictable, repetitive, boring, and he sucks in the ring and on the mic. That's basically a rundown of every video I've ever done on John Cena. And it's true. You cannot stack up Cena against The Rock or against anybody else of that quality. You have to create a new set of parameters for grading your superstars before you can even make John Cena look like a top tier anything. Last but not least, that Cena is just point blank not in The Rock's league. And that's true. John Cena, as popular as WWE wants to make him, as much as they want to shove him down our throats, he will never be the type of universal nuclear over that The Rock is. And WWE is struggling with that, and John Cena himself is damn sure struggling with that, and I hope they continue to struggle with that, because here is the point, and here's a point that I'm going to make. WWE is so concerned with shoving John Cena down our throats that instead of listening to the people that say John Cena sucks and trying to improve him, no, they just wormed their way and found a way to make money off of John Cena sucking rather than getting him to actually, improve himself. They just put out John Cena sucks t-shirts and try to make money off of pissing off the fans. That's a really backwards way to market anything. This is why The Rock speaks the truth and John Cena talks out of his ass. Okay, it really wasn't my intention to get really, really personal in this video, and I'm still going to try not to, because this video has never been about Cena fans versus not Cena fans. This has always just been about my personal opinion of John Cena. If you are honestly a John Cena fan, that's cool. That's fine. Everybody has the right to be the fan of whoever they want. I'm just expressing my personal views here. If you're a fan of Hornswoggle, if you for some reason think Hornswoggle deserves to be a world champion, and that's honestly your opinion, you are entitled to that. What I don't like is ignorance. And people are going to come, oh, well, you're ignorant all the time, whatever. No, it's a special kind of ignorance that I'm talking about. See, and I'm not going to name names, but there's a certain ash hole out there that has been in my face for quite a while now. While I've said multiple times, all my videos about John Cena are about what I see on my television screen and whether I enjoy it or not. That is the only focal point of my videos. His response has always been, well, John Cena makes the most money, John Cena does this and that, John Cena's good for the kids, etc., etc. And I've always come back, or I tried to come back, very, very calmly with, my videos are about what I, not a child, what I, not a financial advisor, see on my television screen and my opinion of what I see on my television screen. That is the focal point of any video I do. Whether it's a review, whether it's this or that or the next thing, it's just about my personal fan experience and whether I've been entertained or not. That is the point. Trying to change the point to make me sound wrong makes you a twit that makes me go, wow. Oh yes, it does. Came out with a video just recently, The Paradox of John Cena, and the first 2 minutes of this video is him overusing the word paradox and then talking to all his listeners like they're dumb, like they don't know what the word paradox means. You know, apparently to him, a 3-syllable word is a big word that he needed the dictionary for, and he thought everybody else needed to follow suit. But we all know what a paradox is, and the video, while I am accused of being quite arrogant and quite full of myself, etc., the video is so condescending that I thought I would include it in my ramblings about John Cena here. Basically, the 3 points of the video were this: if you hate John Cena, you hate wrestling. Cena is single-handedly keeping wrestling alive, and Cena haters are turning away potential fans to the WWE. Now, try to remain objective, try to, you know, get my points across without being too much of a dick to this particular asshole. I mean, sorry about that, I've got a little bit of a stutter or a lisp today. I don't know where it's coming from, I honestly don't. If you hate Cena, you hate wrestling. I've been watching wrestling for the better part of 10 years now. I have always loved wrestling. Even when people came along that I couldn't stand, I still loved wrestling. Wrestling right now is in a great spot, and I tell fans this, or I tell old fans this. I've spoken to numerous wrestling fans that have, yes, indeed, told me that the reason they stopped watching, or one of the reasons, I'll be fair, that they stopped watching wrestling was John Cena. And I've told them numerous times, okay, I can't stand John Cena either, but come back, watch out for guys like Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, Dolph Ziggler, the emerging Wade Barrett, Sheamus, younger talents like that, like a Justin Gabriel, Cody Rhodes, etc., etc., etc. I have been at the forefront of saying, no, I don't hate wrestling. I love wrestling. John Cena is one of the very, very few blemishes on what is otherwise a stellar, stellar product. So no, just because I don't agree with some assholes out there does not mean that I hate wrestling. And as I've said before, I have a legitimate amount of respect for John Cena the man. Yes, John Cena comes to work every day. I might not like what he does in the ring or on my television screen, and that's what my videos are about, but I respect him for coming out, you know, every house show, every Raw, every SmackDown, and, you know, I give him the same respect that I give every other superstar, because they are putting their bodies on the line, they are taking risks every day when they get in the ring, etc., etc., etc. More so for John Cena, because he's been pushed down our throats so much, he's out there more than anybody else, and I will give him the respect for that. But again, bring the video back to its point. What I see once he's out there is what these videos are about, and I'm not entertained. It's not that I don't respect John Cena the man for coming into work and putting on his work boots every day. It's what I see once he's out there. It doesn't personally entertain me. Doesn't mean I want the guy to die. I'm happy that he came out of his car wreck unscathed. You have to draw the differential here, and that's what this particular asshole doesn't understand. Moving on. Cena is single-handedly keeping the business alive. Now, in an age where the brand extensions pretty much don't exist and everybody from SmackDown is on Raw and a lot of people from Raw go to SmackDown occasionally, if Cena was keeping the wrestling business alive, that would indicate that one of two things would happen. Either SmackDown would die on its ass, or WWE would send John Cena to SmackDown more. SmackDown has a great reputation right now as being the better wrestling show, doesn't it? Oh, yes, it does. Now, are all the main event headliners on SmackDown? No. I think there's better wrestling on SmackDown a lot of the time. Granted, we have, you know, Jericho, Punk, etc. on Raw right now, and all the wrestlers from SmackDown are also on Raw right now. But SmackDown, in its own right, for a show that is taped, for one thing, for a show that's on Friday night, for another thing, two big strokes working against it right now, it's still doing pretty damn decent without John Cena. People will shit on me for this. TNA has not fallen on its... TNA doesn't have John Cena, but TNA hasn't fallen on its ass. TNA is definitely the B show to WWE. I'm a TNA fan, and I'll admit that. But it hasn't fallen on its ass for not having John Cena on the roster. For sure, they have people like Kurt Angle. and Jeff Hardy and Rob Van Dam and other young talents like, I don't know, Bobby Roode and James Storm, who, yeah, get their spot at the main event. People in and out of the main event constantly. What a concept. Just had to put that out there. Now, if I was disrespectful of John Cena, I wouldn't care about what happens to John Cena in or out of the ring. What I'm saying, outside the ring, John Cena, the man, would benefit from sharing the spotlight, from sharing the job of carrying the company. Let the spotlight be shared with guys like Randy Orton. Bring Randy Orton back to the prominence that he was once at. Bring CM Punk back up, because I still don't think CM Punk has been brought up to his full potential. Yes, CM Punk has the championship right now, but John Cena is still the main event because he's booked higher than the WWE championship. If you... Fuck off, I'm doing a video. If you book them all on the... to an equal plane to where you've booked John Cena, that puts less stress on John Cena and might even allow him to be better. But they won't, because they've put so much into John Cena. They are so scared to admit that they may have been not necessarily wrong, but not as right as they would have hoped, that they refuse to give anybody else that level. Randy Orton's big, absolutely. He is the head guy on SmackDown, and what has he done? He's gone and he's helped the mid-card. Oh, yes he has. You know, they won't do that with John Cena. They won't do that with John Cena because he's carrying the company on his shoulders. Now, why would you not let CM Punk carry the company on his shoulders for a while? Let John Cena, with the prominence that he has, and yes, although it builds bile in my system, he does have prominence in the WWE. Why would he not take that prominence and share it around? Who is going to take over John Cena's reigns after he's gone? He's not a cyborg. He's not going to be here forever. You need to build for what's going to happen next, and they haven't done that. Perfect counterculture. Randy Orton has done a perfect job of that on SmackDown. Cena hasn't, or hasn't been given the chance, or hasn't been given the booking to do that on Raw. That's a big part of the problem. The other big part of the problem is, yeah, if you've got all the business sitting on one guy, who do you put up against him to legitimately have a match that anybody gives a shit about? The way they've booked John Cena right now, you bring somebody in with more prominence, like The Rock, and it's very, very hard to get excited about the match because you know he's going to lose. It's that steamroller effect that I keep talking about. Now, John Cena is keeping the wrestling business alive. Now, if you watch on YouTube or on other forums, or, you know, in groups on Facebook, on groups on Twitter, etc., 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 when people run down the card of WrestleMania, they started off like this. Well, we all know that The Rock is facing John Cena, and there's not really much more to be said about that, but now let me tell you about how I'm looking forward to the Hell in the Cell. Let me tell you how the wrestling clinic is going to be, you know, Jericho versus Punk, and how Sheamus and Bryan is really, really a tricky situation because Bryan's on a roll and Sheamus has won the Royal Rumble. They skim, even though it's the main event, they skim over it because it's been shoved down our throats, because we're already sick of it and we're not even there yet. And that's not good. That's not John Cena's fault. That's the booking's fault. That is honestly the booking's fault, because they announced it a year in advance. They made him invincible as hell. So it's like, if you're invincible, why do I care? I've driven this home a million times. If you are invincible, if you never lose, why do I care about your match? The best thing, and here's another concept that most people don't get. The biggest thing John Cena can do right now, if I want to get interested in John Cena, lose a match. Honestly. Look at how over CM Punk is, and he doesn't come close to nearly winning all of his matches. Again, I'll go to Randy Orton, who's been beaten pillar to post by Wade Barrett on SmackDown, but he's still prominent, isn't he? Oh, yes. Thing is, Randy Orton can afford to lose, and he'll still be great. CM Punk can afford to lose, and he'll still be great. All these guys, you know, over on TNA, Kurt Angle can afford to lose. He's still an awesome wrestler. Jeff Hardy can afford to lose. He's still an amazing star. WWE, honestly, and this is where I'm actually going to give a little bit of credit to John Cena. I don't think WWE is giving John Cena the credit that he can still be who he is after losing a match. And that's not John Cena, that's the WWE, but it is reflected in John Cena's character, and that's where my frustration comes from. Bringing it back to the point once again, I am frustrated with what I see on my television screen, not John Cena the person. Big, big difference. Please try to grasp this, asshole. Anyways, honestly, John Cena has been around 10 years. There's people in the WWE that have been around a lot longer. If you honestly want to say that there would be no wrestling business without John Cena, then I would say shut the doors. We don't deserve to run anymore. And I don't say that lightly. I mean, honestly, everybody's replaceable. Hulk Hogan was replaceable. Shawn Michaels is replaceable. CM Punk, as much as I hate to admit it, Jeff Hardy, as much as I hate to admit it, are replaceable. If you want to honestly tell me that the WWE and wrestling in general are in such a bad state that without John Cena it would crumble, then it deserves to crumble. Moving on. Cena haters turn away the casual fans, and what he said about this was that basically somebody that doesn't watch wrestling will go on YouTube or whatever else, hear people bashing John Cena, and think, well, if even the fans don't care about the product, why should I? And then you lose out on having a new fan in the WWE. Problem with that, buddy. Big problem. And listen to me very carefully. A casual fan isn't going to take the time to go and read dirt sheets and fucking YouTube channels and shooters and all that shit. They're going to flip through the channels, see what they like, see what they don't like, and go from there. But I'm going to put it out there. And I'm getting beeped again, but whatever. I'm going to put this out there. Very short, sweet, and simple. Much as I've said in the past that I am not on the WWE's payroll as a writer, I am definitely not on the WWE's pay-per-view as far as advertisement goes. It is not my job to go out and plug the company. It's really not. I do tell them how exciting wrestling is and the exciting corner that we're turning into a whole crop of new talent, and I try to sell that to people that come to me that don't really get why I'm a wrestling fan, and I'm like, okay, if you look past the main event at the rest of the guys, it's pretty good show, but I am not on the payroll for advertising WWE. So honestly, selling WWE to people that aren't wrestling fans is not my job. Next thing, the thought pattern that he's given out here lends itself to the following. It's like, okay, as soon as you say anything negative about anything in a video, some random person that's deciding whether they're going to be a fan or not is going to be turned off. So in theory, you want us to become what Wrestling Jesus has always warned us against becoming, and that's WWE apologists. People that try to over-accentuate any good little thing that they see and totally bury anything negative, allowing the company to make absolutely no growth and hear absolutely no response from their core audience. How does that help anybody? Also, you are a little bit of a hypocrite telling people not to be negative, Mr. Heat of the Week. Just putting that out there. My videos, and I will only speak about my videos, because like I say, I'm not going to mention other people by name here. Ashhole. My videos. Yes, I will rant about John Cena. You hear me do a Raw review or a pay-per-view review, and it's something along the lines of, wow, I really got John Cena shoved down my throat again tonight, but wow, Dolph Ziggler pulled off an amazing move. Wow, Dolph Ziggler sold his opponent. He was a bump machine in that chamber, for example. Wow, Cody Rhodes is really, really bringing prominence back to that Intercontinental Championship. This and that and the next thing. Wow, CM Punk is really, really putting a lot of stock back into that WWE Championship. Wow, Daniel Bryan cashed in his Money in the Bank on two giants, and we finally have a wrestler holding the Heavyweight Wrestling Championship. This was a show, this show could have been 10 out of 10. It's only 9.5 because John Cena fucked it up. That's not a horrible reflection on the company. That's what I said before. That's a stellar company, a stellar bit of entertainment, a stellar product with one blemish on it, and that blemish is John Cena. That is not an indictment of the entire wrestling industry, as much as you would like to think that it is. Basically, if you want to get somebody to go into wrestling and you tell them that it's all great, and then they see somebody like John Cena and they're like, what the hell are you talking about? It's not good. If you go into them realistically and you say, well, Cena's not the best thing out there, but if you look past Cena to wrestler A, B, and C, and look to the young growing talent that we have right now that needs to come up and hasn't come up yet, or hasn't at least had their time in the sun to shine yet, in my opinion. If you look past Cena to the next crop of talent, it's an amazingly exciting time to become a wrestling fan, and if you're not a wrestling fan already, it would be a great time to become a wrestling fan. That is how you sell wrestling to people that aren't sure if they're a wrestling fan or not. Don't bullshit them and tell them that everything's great, because then they'll see the show, see the stuff that's not great, not only will they be disappointed in the product, they're going to come back to you and yell at you and whatever and think that you're a liar and think that you bullshitted them. I would rather be realistic. WWE is stellar. WWE is the best wrestling company out there, obviously. It's one of the only 2 wrestling companies on television, and they blow TNA out of the water. I'll freely be willing to admit that. But it's not all because of John Cena. Some of it is WWE succeeding despite John Cena. And yes, I know that's a hell of a weighted comment, because the guy does show up every day to work, and like everybody else does. But like I said before, if you want to say that you're a great guy just because you show up, Michael Cole shows up. The guys that set up the ring show up. Their faces aren't on any billboards, though, and they aren't being handed WrestleMania main events. That's all I'm going to say. There's a very singular attitude as to where the credit goes for WWE. Credit should go to everybody underneath John Cena on the card, everybody with John Cena on the card, and everybody that came before John Cena, and everybody that will come after John Cena. It needs to be spread around. To pinpoint the entire success of the wrestling industry on one guy is ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. And while I'm here, this is the end of me, responding to Ashhole's video there. Superstars, divas, and wrestlers. Oh, they're the same thing. No, they're not. Oh, superstars and wrestlers are the same thing. Divas and women's wrestlers are the same thing. No, they're not. Let me draw a comparison for you. A wrestler is somebody that can wrestle, that can put on a good wrestling match. Natalya Neidhart is a wrestler. Kelly Kelly's a diva. Chyna was a wrestler. Lita was a tremendous wrestler. Trish Stratus became an amazing wrestler. On the other side of that fence, you've got the Bellas and Alicia Fox, Kelly Kelly, etc. They're not the same. It's the same as you got superstar John Cena, wrestler Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, Daniel Bryan, etc., etc., etc. And then once you move up from wrestler, you have the top tier, the absolute top tier. I don't even know how to say it. The rare diamond in the rough, which is the hybrid wrestling star, which is bigger than life character, great on the mic, great on a promo, great on a face-to-face confrontation, great in-ring worker, great in-ring psychologist, ring psychology, puts on a great match, puts on a convincing match, can sell their opponent. Everything together. That is where you get into the Shawn Michaelses, the Edges, the Chris Jerichos, the CM Punks, and yes, although people are going to shit on me for it, the Jeff Hardys. Yes, I would love to see Jeff Hardy back in a WWE ring, put him up against John Cena. And you know what'll happen? John Cena will look great because Jeff Hardy sells him and makes his opponent look great. Jeff Hardy will struggle like The Rock is going to struggle at WrestleMania because he's in there with an opponent that will not sell him a bit and will not make him look good in the slightest, and he will still end up looking better, like The Rock will. The Rock will get steamrolled. The Rock will get the loss in his win-loss column, but he will steal this match at WrestleMania. I guarantee it. Now, everything I've said here is my opinion. This is the thing that Ashhole doesn't understand. My opinion. My opinion. I don't expect anybody to agree with me. If you do, great. When I did the Cena Apocalypse video, a lot of people agreed with me. That's great. A lot of people disagreed with me, and it got a conversation going, and that was great. But they weren't insulting about it. Ashhole finished off his video. People who don't agree with me have 2 choices. They need to either change their minds and realize that they're wrong, or they just need to shut up. So, obviously, everybody's allowed to have an opinion as long as we agree with him. That's a little short-sighted. What's even better is, after I was done this video, I don't even know why, because I usually don't read the description boxes unless there's something specifically there for, that relates to the video. But let me read something to you, and you tell me how much credibility we should be giving this guy after he says something like this to his viewers. This is a summation of my thoughts regarding John Cena and his detractors, and which internet fans are allowed to breathe or not. People with attitudes like that threaten other wrestling fans, like one of his friends did a little while ago, are the ones that are killing the wrestling fan experience. Not guys like me who see one blemish on an otherwise spectacular company and a spectacular product and a spectacular form of entertainment. Oh yes, check yourself before you shit on other people. Ashhole, get on your horse, man, and get the fuck off my TV screen. And now we've come to the end. You've heard my points on various things. You've heard my responses to various things. You've heard where I stand and why. Now, the very last thing I'm going to do, and I'm not, like I said, I've said throughout this video, I'm not going to be mentioning other people by name. This video isn't to call people out. But somebody a while ago, when I was talking about my opinion about John Cena, asked me, I'm pretty sure it was because I'm Canadian. They say, do you respect Bret Hart? I said, of course I expect Bret Hart. He has his place in wrestling history. And they said, well, Bret Hart said if he came back for one more match that he would want to have it with John Cena. So, if you respect Bret Hart, you should respect John Cena. I said, no, I respect Bret Hart doesn't mean I agree with him. I respect Austin, for example, doesn't mean I agree with everything he does. I respect the hell out of CM Punk. Doesn't mean I'm going to go be straight edge. I respect the hell out of the wrestling ability of Daniel Bryan. Doesn't mean I don't enjoy myself a nice, well-done steak every now and then. The idea that, you know, just because a wrestler happens to agree with you doesn't make you any more right. Just like a wrestler disagreeing with you makes you any more wrong. I held their abilities in high regard. I hold their gifts as performers in high regard. I hold their opinions in high regard, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to necessarily agree with them. But I thought I would apply this to another argument. Everybody and their uncle who's trying to back John Cena and trash The Rock has been trying to say that The Rock is phoning it in, he doesn't give a shit, his effort isn't there, he's not the way he used to be, he's a shell of his former self, he's using the WWE to perpetuate himself, and basically that he's slacking, and like I said, calling it in. I found a response for this, and if you want to talk about credibility, the clip I'm going to play for you now is a roundtable discussion between Jim Ross, Diamond Dallas Page, and Rowdy Roddy Piper. So if credibility makes the argument for you, I'm going to let these guys do the rest of the talking for me. I really hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you've lasted with me to the end of this video, I thank you, and if you haven't flagged me yet, I thank you even more. For those of you that have, you can go fuck yourselves. I'm a Rock fan. Cena sucks. The end. Enjoy these guys.
Young guys on the roster, or the internet guys, or anybody else that says, well, how does it affect the current roster that The Rock's going to come back and in this key spot and he's on the road every day? I want to say, you people have got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. Do you understand what The Rock has done for this business? His family has done for this business. And he's coming back as a major movie star to get back in the ring and be physical. And you think Ross going to go through the motions?
No way, he's going to knock it out.
He's 6'5", he's 270, man.
He can't go through the motions.
No,
he doesn't
he
know
can't.
how to do it.
Exactly. He can't. It's on his DNA. The Rock's DNA is, I'm coming back to put boots in ashes. Yeah. I will not be embarrassed. I will not call it in. I will not phone it in. Respect. I will kick some ass. And The Rock and Cena, because of respect, The Rock has respect for this business, will have an amazing WrestleMania that we'll be talking about for years to come because he is a stallion. Now, and he loves this business.
If the WWE company and the powers to be don't put The Rock and Cena in a Piper's Pit the Raw before WrestleMania, you ain't got a hair in your mind. I'm telling you, baby.
I will tell you what.
I would love to do that pit.
Get up, come on,